Last year, I was at the Uplift Festival at Byron Bay, and I had this amazing experience where we sat through a 40-minute rendition of the Tibetan Book of the Dead. And truly, it was one of the most amazing experiences that I've ever had doing all this spiritual work. And I was very fortunate. I've known Riley Lee before, and I've met Tenzin's came and played at a few places with us. And what I love about it, it's a great culmination of all these amazing artists all in one place doing something which is quite unique. And I had the opportunity to meet Michael. So while I'm down here at Mullen visiting today, I've just kind of dropped in and asked him if he could just give us input about what he's done to be involved in this type of industry and what people should expect on the night. Yeah, sorry to put you on the spot.
Oh, no problem. No, I'm always very excited about any opportunity to do this piece, which we've been doing on and off now for about 10 years.
Oh, really?
It's hard to believe, yeah. And it all came about when I left Sydney as a musician. I'd been in the Sydney Symphony Orchestra and been doing a lot of freelance work and many different styles of music in Sydney. I decided to bring my family north, and we settled here in this beautiful Northern Rivers area, Mullumbimby. The project evolved really out of having a connection with Riley Lee, first of all, Grand Master of the shakuhachi, Japanese bamboo flute, and meeting a local orator and actor, James Coates, and hearing some work he'd been doing with Sufi poetry. And James was kind enough, after we spoke a little bit about this idea of trying to do something with the Tibetan Book of the Dead, he was good enough to introduce me to the great Tenzin Trikaya, who's also involved. So this dream that I'd had for quite a few years, because I think the text, for anyone who may not yet have kind of delved into this text, it's an amazing technicolor journey, and a proposal of what we all want to know, what happens when we die.
When we die, of course.
And this is the great Tibetan Buddhist handbook of this, what's going to happen to all of us. Yeah.
So when people come, let's talk about you first. You've been in music industry for most of your career.
Yeah.
And you've played in Sydney Symphony Orchestras.
Symphony orchestras, yeah.
And now you work out of Brisbane where you teach.
Yeah, mostly now I'm teaching classical percussion at University of Queensland. And I also teach as percussion specialist at the Queensland Academy of Performing Industries, which is preparing young teenagers, years 10, 11 and 12, for careers in music or careers at a university level.
So on the night you bring percussion, and I've seen it before, and excuse my ignorance, you've got very large gongs, not the ones that are going to belt the energetically out of you, and you use an array of Tibetan bowls.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, you know, for all my life I've been, you know, playing the drums and playing a range of orchestral percussion instruments. And I mean, the gong certainly has a place in the symphony orchestra. The singing bowls, I like to call them Himalayan singing bowls rather than sort of specifically Tibetan. They're kind of a new interest for me, and playing music that uses a lot of gongs, like this piece does, in a lot of different ways, from very soft playing to quite powerful playing, is also quite new, and a kind of an engagement with the idea of just pure sound. And this kind of text is very pure, of course, and the instruments, the shakuhachi, the flute that Tenzin plays, his chanting and vocals, are kind of very raw, beautiful, kind of pure sounds. And I wanted to add that Asian flavour from my percussion side
Right.
to
Okay.
whatever else is happening.
So for people when they come on the night, what do they expect to encounter?
Well, what we've done with the Tibetan Book of the Dead, it can be quite a difficult text to come to terms with. So I actually negotiated with Francesca Fremantle, who's a Tibetan Buddhist scholar in the UK, who assisted Chogyam Trungpa, assisted him with one of the most important translations of the Tibetan Book of the Dead. And we've sort of cut it back a little bit, pruned it, and we've designed it so that it can be accompanied by music, so that it can have space for musical interludes, and so that it flows in a very kind of poetic and engaging way. And James was terrific for this too. He really knows how to deliver words, and he also knows what feels the best in certain situations. So we've adjusted some quite idiosyncratic Tibetan terms in the text just to make it flow and make it more understandable and enjoyable.
But it's far more than entertainment.
Yeah, and I think it's a very profound journey, and we find this whenever we perform the piece. It's really like the journey, from the death of the physical body into the psychic, subtle body, and out the other end into a total kind of rebirth afresh. It's a beautiful journey.
Well, if I can quote, I live with, my partner is an empath and a spiritual healer for 20 years, and she's travelled the world, and she said when we experienced it would be one of the most amazing spiritual experiences that she's had in 20 yees. So that's kind of saying she's travelled and lived in LA and England, all around the world, and she said, wow, this is the best I've ever had.
Yeah,
and so that's
well, she's very beautiful and sweet.
Yeah,
but no, that's
honest
lovely.
too.
Yeah, and honest.
All right.
Appreciate that.
Well, we're there on the 8th of November. Come along. Bring something to lay on if you wish. Half the people, like I said, when we're at uplift, somewhere in the chairs.
Yeah.
If you want to lay on the floor, just bring a mat and a pillow.
Yeah, it is a meditation. You can meditate, lie down, if you feel that way, inclined.
Yes. And come along and experience something quite profound and very unique for here on the Gold Coast. Well, thank you, Michael.
Thanks, Cameron. Thanks.
Okay, mate.
Pleasure. I look forward to seeing everyone there.
Okay, mate. Bye-bye. All right, thanks, Michael. I'll go put that up.